Number. Okay, Mayuresh Joshi is now joining us. Mayuresh, how should you look at the numbers on the face of it? How is the PAT number looking? How is the EBITDA number looking like?
So I think the transcript is something that I have not opened so far. But the top line probably more or less in line with estimates at this point of time. If you're talking about the profitability number, again, profitability was expected to be a little bit lower. We are not seeing the actual numbers on the release at this point of time. But I think top line, at least at this point of time, largely in line with estimates.
Right, so I have the top line number, which is 6650 crores, and the estimate was around 6,900 crores. So that's about a 4-5% miss. But considering that, what, some of the other players have delivered, people would have expected this 3-4% extra miss.
No, so our own estimates were lesser than what the street was expecting. So I think it's come in line with what we were normally expecting. And yes, I think the pricing pressure specifically from the US business was expected to be a drag in terms of the overall numbers. So I think the miss that you're probably talking about that the street was contemplating and what has actually got delivered would be primarily on the back of the decrease in the US business, which was expected. But again, I think the pricing pressures are clearly getting played out. So I think it will be very interesting to understand how the US business performance has been, how the India business has performed, because the India business was expected to grow on YOY basis, while the API business was supposed to show a marginal increase on a year-on-year comparison as well.
Right, so if I look at the margin number, it's coming close to 1,450 crores. Now 1,400 or close to 1,400 to 1,500 crores we were expecting in terms of margin. So that's a decent performance, but however the street would look at the broader picture, why sales are not going up?
No, so again, Pankaj, the sales number is expected to be a little bit soft even in the near term, because what has probably happened for the US business is going to create an impediment both in terms of pricing realizations. And again, I think the margins are largely expected to be under similar pressure, though the margins that have got reported in this quarter has been a stellar performance. So again, if I look at the net revenues at this point of time and the EBITDA number that you've told me, I think the margin performance would be close to around 21%, which is pretty decent in my opinion. But I think the challenges in terms of pricing pressures will probably translate into lower growth and margins, and that is what the street is coming out with. What Sun is probably doing to probably have an offsetting effect is to probably look out for their specialty business and the monetization thereof, and what also happens from the Halol resolution, because a large part of their ANDA pipeline is dependent in terms of that resolution going through. So again, I think on the EBITDA front, I think yes, I think it's been a decent performance, but again, the expectations largely that the street believes is that the growth and the margin profile picture can remain under pressure because of pricing issues in the US market.
Right, Mayuresh, till now, when we spoke to Lupin post their results, we heard the Aurobindo Concall post their results. Everybody maintained that, pricing pressures are easing off, or the pressure on a YOY basis is easing off significantly. If Sun Pharma also says that, do you think that's something which markets would eye out for? 6:30 p.m. is the Concall where Dilip Shanghvi usually comes and gives the outlook.
No, again, pricing pressures would probably start not impacting the balance sheet in a significant manner, because pricing pressures along with what has happened in terms of lower growth has probably taken into the earnings downgrades by a lot of analysts. But what is also happening is that there is intense competition or increased competition in the US market. So again, I think the niche drugs that these companies will probably have in the US market is going to be a defining feature. And again, I think the specialty businesses for all these companies is something that might define their margin and pricing trajectory moving upwards. So yes, I think if such a scenario is panned out or played out, I think it can be taken positively. But again, I think if you look at the different verticals within their business segment itself, Taro's products again are probably still under pressure because of competitive intensity. And that is not going to go away in a whiff. So again, I think pricing pressure will very well continue at least for the next 1 to 2 quarters. And after that, with niche approvals expected to come through And if one expects resolutions to come through for its key plant, you might have some amount of clarity in terms of margin profile getting improving for a few of their key launches that can then come through. So to that extent, I think the pricing pressure and increased competition will still have a hold on terms of pharma companies' EBITDA performance. But any management commentary related to pricing pressures bottoming out would be taken as a positive.
Right. Mayuresh, one would say that the halal inspection is going on. So does that become a big event? Even if the numbers were good or bad, the markets would wait for that event to get over?
So to a large bit, I think it's an event risk. So I think what probably comes out of the halal resolution and the key observations that you saw of the earlier resolution that happened a few quarters back, I think if the management is successfully able to resolve all the issues that have been raised or any other issues that have come to the forefront, I think it's a big positive, because halal is somewhere where a lot of their key A&D approvals come from, a lot of their key product pipelines can probably start coming through, and I think the earnings upgrades can possibly happen over the next few quarters as more and more drugs get filed from that facility. So yes, I think earnings recovery post FY19 is a possibility, and if one takes a possibility of the halal resolution actually happening, that's a positive for the company, along with any kind of visibility that the management can give on their specialty business.
Right, Mayuresh. Thank you so much for taking out time for us. Sun Pharma numbers have just trickled in. PAT is much below estimates, but that because of a one-time expense that they had to do. Sales about 5% lower than estimates, and EBITDA on an absolute basis is lower. However, in the percentage basis, it's broadly fine. 21.8, that's the percentage number that the street was looking for. Mayuresh Joshi saying that there's a big event as well about halal, and that creates an event risk. So we'll wait and watch for the developments over there. We broke exclusive story regarding the halal facility that it'll take about 10-12 days before you get the outcome which is likely to come in regarding the halal facility. Let's get some technical perspective as well. Manas